What are nodes? Well, in both Spark and EffectHouse, nodes are fundamental building blocks used to design and create interactive effects. They function as a visual programming element that represent various functions or operations, like image manipulation, 3D object transformation, like user interaction like tapping on the screen, or complex animations. They're basically and literally representation of blocks of code that let us skirt around having to actually type out in a programming language. Nodes can be connected to each other in a node graph, which is a visual representation of the effects processing pipeline. And by connecting nodes in a specific order, you create your effects. Imagine the lines connecting the nodes as data in a pipe flowing from one to the next. Basically, these are software versions of Legos, and you're fitting them together in a way that gets you what you want. So in this sample project in EffectHouse, you can see by right-clicking in the visual scripting area that your nodes are organized by these categories like event and logic and utility, etc., etc. And you'll create your node graph by connecting these nodes you've chosen to their inputs and outputs respectively. For example, in this little sample, I have the start node, and I've added a timer node connected for the next triangle to start. I've given the timer node a duration of 2.00, which is 2 seconds. When it's completed, I want the set visibility node, which is tied to this weird hairball object I have here, to become invisible because that visibility on box is checked off. So now let me run a little reset here. There's our weird blue hairball. 2 seconds in, goes away. That's the heart of the whole thing, and how all of these templates I've made for you are kind of constructed so that you can just flow through the nodes and see what's happening when and adjust things accordingly. Just a quick interjection here. There's more than one way to get the objects you want to interact with into your node graph. So I've already shown it a little bit, but just to reiterate really quickly, just so it's clear, in the example of this 2D scene object, which is this funky hairball, I can just click and drag this in. And that gives me a reference to the object, which you see I've already done right here. And I tie that in as the target. So whatever's happening here is going to be acting on the target, which in this case is tied to this. And you can drag textures directly over and reference the texture that way and do things to them there. And on the right side, with each of these little dots at the top of each section of the inspector properties, you can click that and do a get or a set if that's available, and that will generate a patch. So there's more than one way to do it. So I know I showed some stuff there that's a little ahead of what you might want to pay attention to if you're brand new to the software, but I just wanted to explain that concept because it's very important. It's how we'll get everything actually done, and it is transferable as a concept between both of these platforms. So in the next video, we'll actually start going over the interface.